Hello, I'm Robert Griffin, the Executive Minister here at the Sunshine Cathedral in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I want to thank you for joining us for worship via the internet today. And if you are ever in the Fort Lauderdale area, let me personally invite you to stop by and worship with us on Sunday mornings at 9 and 10:30 a.m. We also invite you to join us on our Facebook group or follow us on Twitter. But for this moment, let's go inside and see what exciting worship opportunity lay in store for us.
Let us pray. O spinner, weaver of our lives, your loom is love. May we who are gathered here be empowered by that love to weave new patterns of truth and justice into a web of life that is strong, beautiful, and everlasting. Amen.
Our first reading is from the wisdom of Isaiah. All you people who are thirsty, come. Here is water for you to drink. Don't worry if you have no money. Come, eat and drink until you are full. You don't need money. The milk and wine are free. Rain and snow fall from the sky and don't return until they have watered the ground. Then the ground causes the plants to sprout and grow, and they produce seeds for the farmer and food for people to eat. In the same way, my words leave my mouth, and they don't come back without results. My words make the things happen that I want to happen. They succeed in doing what I send them to do. So you will go out with joy. You will be led out in peace. When you come to the mountains and hills, they will begin singing. All the trees in the fields will clap their hands. In these human words, God's voice is heard.
Our second reading is from the Gospel according to Luke. Jesus told this story. A homeowner had a fig tree in the garden. The homeowner came looking for some fruit on it, but found none. The homeowner said to the gardener, "I have been looking for fruit on this tree for 3 years, but I never find any. Cut it down. It's useless." But the gardener answered, "Let the tree have 1 more year to produce fruit. Let me dig up the dirt around it and fertilize it. Maybe the tree will have fruit on it next year. If it still does not produce, then you can cut it down." In these human words, God's voice is heard.
Well, I'm wondering if there is anyone among us who everything just comes really easy for you. You landed on the planet a star athlete. You picked up the piano within 3 or 4 lessons. You just were a straight A student. You never really even had to study. Just every promotion you apply for on the job, you get it. Every flirtation develops into a wonderful romance. Everything is just good for you and easy, right? If that is you, I got nothing for you today. This sermon's not really going to apply to you, I'm afraid, so you can text your friends or whatever. But for everyone else, I think I have some good news. Some of us are late bloomers, or some of us are early peakers, or some of us, we tend to do pretty well after a couple of false starts. I see from head nods and eyes expanding, I've hit about 2/3 of the room already with one of those categories, right? And I'm certainly in that category of false starts. Midlife, when I hit middle age onward, things got pretty good, but I was in no rush to succeed before then. I tested in high school or junior high, I tested as a gifted child. I did not have much evidence beyond this test that was true from my academic performance, but I tested as gifted. And so they put me in gifted and talented program, which meant more work. And I was not all that motivated to do the regular work, And so I did graduate high school, yay! And we had 160 people in our graduating class, and I was number 40. Because I'm an achiever like that. Number 40 out of 160, which, beats, I guess, being 159, although that person got a diploma too, so whatever. But still, I was number 40 out of 160. So then I thought, well, okay, I'm an adult now. I need to do better. I need to get my act together. So I hit the ground running my freshman year in college. First semester president's list. How about that? All A's. Second semester dean's list. I made a B or 2. And then I was not on anybody's list ever again. Just didn't do it. I did, however, complete my 4-year degree in 5.5 years. So there's that. And then afterwards, I didn't rush to graduate school. I didn't rush to get through undergraduate school. Why rush to graduate school? I didn't rush to graduate school. And then when I decided I wanted to do it, I'd almost talked myself out of it, because I was looking back at that less than stellar record of this average performance in high school and college, and I thought, I just may not be graduate school material. I almost talked myself out, but I really wanted to do it, and what I wanted to do in life needed me to do it, but I hadn't really shown that I had the stuff. My tree hadn't really produced a lot of fruit yet, and so I talked to a therapist about it. How to get over this mental block, how to get over this fear of attempting to do this, a fear of going to graduate school. And she just gave the simplest, wisest advice. She said, just take a class. And if it doesn't kill you, if you enjoy it, take another class and see where it goes. And if it turns out it's not for you, well, then you'll know for sure because you tried it. And so don't overwhelm yourself by trying to do it all at once. Just take a class and then take another class. See what happens. And so I enrolled, and I took a class, and I took another class, and then I got a master's degree. And then I got another master's degree. And then I won a couple of awards during that master's degree. And then I got a doctorate degree. And I made all A's in my doctoral program. And so I thought, wow, I can do this. I'm pretty smart. Those people who tested me gifted, they knew what they were talking about. Why did it take me so long to figure it out? That I have scholarly potential. I can do this. Why did it take me so long to figure it out? Well, it doesn't matter, because we have nothing but time. So whenever you get it, you get it. And so that's what we see today in this gospel reading. We see, and I think sometimes people think that the owner of this vineyard who says, this tree is not doing anything, cut it down, people think that that's God. No, the gardener is God. The gardener, the divine gardener, is the one that says, no, we can't do, no, we can do more, we can work with it, we can wait on it. There's potential in that tree. It'll do something if we don't give up on it. And so the gardener says, let's give it till next year. But here is the divine wisdom of giving it till next year. It's always next year. By the time you get there, it's this year. So we got to give it till next year. No matter how long it takes, if we're going to give it till next year is always coming. It's always now. So if we're going to give it till next year, that means we're not going to give up on it. It's never too late. My grandmother took 10 years to finish her bachelor's degree. She took 1 year of full-time college, and then she went every summer till she finally earned her degree. There is a famous person, a famous retired athlete who's in her 60s now. To preserve her anonymity, we'll call her Caitlin. But she... in her 60s, she found the courage to come out loud, to come out strong. Now, I don't, philosophically, Caitlin and I don't have very much in common. Politically, we don't have very much in common. Religiously, we don't have very much in common. But I admire someone who will say, it's never too late to tell the truth about who I am. It took her 60 years for that tree of truth to bear fruit for us all to see. I'm so glad she didn't give up. I'm so glad she kept nurturing it until what she deserved finally started to bloom. And so the gospel is urging us today, don't give up. If it hasn't done it yet, well, just keep nurturing, just keep waiting. It may happen next year. And when you get there, if it hasn't happened yet, it may happen next year. And when you get there, if it hasn't happened yet, it may happen next year. It's always too soon to give up. Now, when I say don't give up, I don't mean keep doing what has failed, because that's not going to get you to your goals probably. Notice the gardener says, all right, let me dig around it. Let me disturb the soil. The soil is settled. Let me dig up that stuff. Let me make some changes. Let me fertilize it, feed it, nurture it, water it, weed it. Let me do some things differently. Same goal, not giving up on the goal, but I may have to approach it a little differently. But I'm going to work with it and not give up on it, and we're going to give it more time. I heard a wonderful quote. I don't know who said it, but I liked it, so from now on we'll say I said it. How it works in the Bible. But the quote is, I never lose. I win or I learn. I never lose. I win or I learn. That's what happens when we don't give up. We may have to change course. We may have to make some changes in how we approach our goals, but we are going to, by pursuing our goals, we are going to win something. We're going to win experience. We're going to win knowledge. We may even win the prize, but we never lose if we don't give up. We sometimes say in our board meetings, we set some pretty big goals, and sometimes someone will say, that's an awfully big goal. And we always have to break it down. What if you have a very modest goal and you meet it? Or what if you have a very lofty goal and you make 80% of it, you still come out ahead by having the bigger goal. So you don't give up. You keep dreaming big and you keep pursuing the goals. And even if it doesn't happen exactly the way you wanted, you're still ahead by continuously digging that soil and fertilizing and watering and weeding and not giving up and saying, if it didn't happen next year, thank God for this year, thank God for next year. It's never too late. The Isaiah reading, the prophetic reading, actually tells us how we can do that, how we can develop the attitude that won't allow us to give up too soon, how we can develop the attitude that says, I don't see fruit on the limbs yet, but I see fruit potential in the tree. I know that within it there is a life that is just begging to come out. And we're not going to give up until we see some signs of that. So we're going to work and we're going to work. How do we develop that kind of attitude? And the prophet actually tells us how. The prophet describes seasons. The rains come, the snows melt, the soil becomes fertile, then the plants come up, and then the seeds fall from the plants and become planted again, and then the cycles repeat. And so there's these ongoing cycles, always promoting life, always promoting growth, always promoting fulfillment and achievement. And so if this is a season that seems dry, if this is a season where we are overwhelmed, where the floods are coming, if this is a season where the snows and the ice and everything seems frozen and hard, if this is a season that isn't producing what we want, it's just a season, and it will be followed by another season. So don't give up until the new season comes around. And all of the seasons are participating in the same process of life. So even the one that is not producing what we want yet is still contributing to the overall result. And so if the season isn't one that's bringing us a lot of joy, don't give up. It will be followed by other seasons. The psalmist said, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. We just have to wait until that new time breaks through. Well, how do you wait? How do you find the wherewithal to wait, the courage to wait? How do you find the hope that tells you, stick with this tree. I just want to cut it down and throw up my hands. I just want to give up. I'm tired of trying to regain my health. I'm tired of trying to finish this program. I'm tired of trying to succeed in business. I'm tired of trying to pass the bar exam or the driving test. I'm tired of whatever it is that just keeps seeming to elude me. How do you summon the courage to keep trying? Maybe try some new ways to get there, but not give up on the goal. Susan Lucci, do you remember how many times she didn't get that darn Emmy? She didn't just leave all my children. She just kept doing it. And one day, here came, well, it was a daytime Emmy, but still she wanted it. And even if she had never gotten it, she was Susan Lucci. She was Erica Kane and a lot of other names. She was rich. She was famous. She was an accomplished actor. She didn't give up. She finally got her goal. And even if she hadn't got that one, look at what all came because she didn't give up. And Elaine Stritch, she was 80 before she got that Tony. But she just kept working and she didn't give up. And so even if you don't get it, you still have lots of gifts and fulfillment along the way. And if you don't give up, even if it takes a long, long time, you might get it. Now, how do you nurture yourself so that you can say, I didn't get the Emmy again, I gained all the weight back that I had lost, I've fallen off the wagon again, whatever, the business is dipping again. How do you summon the courage and the hope to push through that and not give up? Isaiah gives us another bit of advice. Imagining God saying this, Isaiah writes, my words make things happen. My words make things happen. My words do not return to me void. When I say a thing, things start moving. Things start getting into motion. When I say a thing, I am helping to prepare the way for that thing to be accomplished, right? My words will not return to me void. My words have power. My words help make things happen. And guess what? We are in charge of our words. We are in charge of what we say. Thoughts held habitually manifest eventually. Those things that we choose to think about, we will eventually bring about. We are in charge of what we say. The Apostle Paul said, faith comes by hearing, and we are in charge of one person we hear, and that's us. We can always say encouraging, optimistic things. And I've struggled with this in my life. As you know, I had a detached retina about 3 months ago, and I had emergency surgery, and they fixed it, but my vision, well, you can see I don't preach with notes anymore, because who can see them, right? And so, so my vision with corrective lenses was 20/70 after surgery in my left eye. I thought about it for a long time because I was so tempted to be discouraged. Oh, I wanted to be discouraged. I was so close to just being discouraged because that was going to help, right? And so instead of saying, well, you know what? If it never gets better than this, it's still okay. The other eye compensates. I'll get used to it. I can drive. I can watch TV. Just reading is a little difficult. And when I'm not in front of you, I can take my glasses off and fix that. I mean, so I can adapt. I can cope. So I just said, you know what? I'm not going to be discouraged. It is what it is. It's so much better than it could be. Hooray. And so I stopped thinking about it too much. And I certainly stopped worrying about it. And I was so encouraged when last week the doctor told me, your vision has gone from 20/70 to 20/50 in that eye and might get as good as 20/40. Well, I know people driving around with 20/40 without glasses. They shouldn't, but they do. But I'm saying it got better the minute I stopped torturing myself about it. And then because I wasn't torturing myself about it, as it progressively, organically got better, I wasn't making myself miserable in the meantime. So I felt better immediately, and then over months, things actually got better. We are in charge of our attitudes, and we can shape our attitudes with our intentional self-talk. That's why we do affirmations every Sunday at this altar. We tell ourselves good things that will summon the power of hope, because the power of hope will sustain us in those lean times, during the times of drought, during the times of those winter times, during those times when we aren't seeing yet what we want to see, and yet we just don't want to give up too soon. And so we keep our positive self-talk so that we can keep going. And so we tell ourselves things like Johnny Coleman's famous affirmation, I am the thinker that thinks the thought that makes the thing. I am in charge of my thoughts. I can choose the next thought I think. I'm going to choose a thought that brings me encouragement and hope. I am the thinker that thinks the thought that makes the thing. Say that with me. I am the thinker that thinks the thought that makes the thing. There was a Christian mystic in the Middle Ages, Julian of Norwich, and she has this famous prayer. All shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. It's the Middle Ages. Not much is well, really, to the naked eye. And yet she just says anyway, all shall be well. Even if it's not in my lifetime, I might be doing things that are contributing it to be better for future generations. It can get better. All shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. Let's say that together. All shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. And my all-time favorite, Emma Curtis Hopkins, the mother of New Thought, really. She had a lesson that began with these powerful words. There is good for me, and I ought to have it. There is good for me, and I ought to have it. It exists, and I deserve it. There is good for me, and I ought to have it. Let's say that together. There is good for me, and I ought to have it. Yes, there will be dry seasons. Yes, sometimes the fruit will not just be falling off the tree in abundance, but we can still see the potential. The future has infinite possibilities. We don't have to give up. We can encourage ourselves along the way, and in the fullness of time, that harvest is going to come. Do not give up on yourself, because God has never given up on you, and God never will, and this is the good news. Amen.
Thank you for joining us today here at the Sunshine Cathedral. If you're ever in the Fort Lauderdale area, we invite you to stop by and worship with us on Sunday mornings at 9 and 10:30 a.m. If you'd like to make a donation to the Sunshine Cathedral, or if you'd like to find out other resources that the Cathedral has to offer, please visit us at www.sunshinecathedral.org. Until the next time, we look forward to seeing you here at the Sunshine Cathedral.